Welcome everybody to another Composr CMS development stream. And in today's development stream, we're going to pick off where we left off yesterday with running our test suite. And we were in the synchronous tests, so I am rerunning those tests currently, waiting for those to go through. I believe we left off after critical error display, so I think we were on crypt from, if I recall from yesterday. So this is going to take a few minutes to run through and get to where we left off. So while that's running through, I did want to bring up something that came to my attention within the PHP community. So somebody had made a suggestion, or had rather pointed out, that the name Composr CMS is not search engine friendly. It's not a very good name for a content management system, and I don't disagree with them on that. In fact, I had opened this tracker issue on February the 1st of this year, basically kind of suggesting that we change the name of the content management system to something more appropriate. So on the similar lines as to what they were suggesting. So the reason why Composr is not a good name is because there is a PHP repository system also named Composr, except with an ER instead of just with an R, like in our case. And so the name Composr CMS is not very search engine optimization friendly because of that. And then we have a bunch of other terms that refer to actual companies that exist or refer close to the name of other companies. So that's an issue as well. That's going to affect search engine optimization negatively. I'm not sure why my arm just did that. So there are a few reasons why I think we should change the name of the content management system. Now, we are already knee deep or thigh deep, hip deep in development of version 11. So a name change is not going to be in store for version 11. This is something that I think we could consider for version 12 of the content management system. Some sort of name change. So if you want to read more information about this, you can go to composr.app/tracker, and then in this issue number box in the top right hand corner, type in 6144, and that will take you to this issue here. And if you log in, if you create an account on the composr.app site, you can then leave a comment down here. And if you have any ideas for cool and relevant names for the content management system for the future, feel free to leave a note on the tracker issue with your suggestions. Or if you disagree and think we should keep the name Composr CMS, leave a comment and, provide a little bit of reasoning to your opinion as well. So we would love to hear from you on that. So again, that's issue 6144 on the tracker. So check into that. There were a couple of people within the Composr community that suggested that we use the old name of Composr CMS. The old name was OC Portal. That was the name all the way from version 1 up to version 9. The software was called OC Portal. I don't think we should use OC Portal personally. I mean, I think it's a possibility. It's something we could do, but I don't think it's something we should do. And Chris Graham, the original developer, also agrees with me on this. OC Portal is an outdated name for the software. The OCP and the OC product, so OC Portal kind of goes hand in hand with OC products, sort of, I guess, maybe sort of kind of, although I don't think OC products came around until Composr CMS version 10, now that I think of it. It's not really, it's going to be confusing to users if you switch from one name to another and then you go back to the original name. It's kind of jarring, I think. It's going to be pretty jarring. And I think because the parent company of OC Portal, or Composr OC Products, is no longer in existence, OC Portal has the OCP in it, just like OC Products did. That's another reason to kind of avoid the name OC Portal. So, I think we should give it, a brand new name, something that's nice and rad and modern, that kind of thing. So like I said, if you have any suggestions on naming conventions for Composr CMS, let me know in a note on issue 6144. That being said, we're going to get back into our testing suite. It is still running. We still haven't reached where we left off, so we're going to let it do its thing. Unlike the previous two streams, there have not been any new developments with development in between streams, so I have not made any new commits to fix anything off stream. So we are pretty much where we are, where we have left off from yesterday. Just gotta get the, gotta wait for the code quality checker to run through these, and then we can get into the rest of our test suite. So, one thing, I guess I could talk about this. One thing I was considering, this was something I was thinking about after the stream last night. Right now, Composr CMS still uses the MyISAM database engine, which is really outdated. It's not even maintained anymore, I don't think. But we use it particularly because of the fact that MyISAM has accurate row counts, whereas InnoDB has a much slower row count system. But I think InnoDB has a lot more benefits than and another reason, MyISAM is easier to recover from a crash than InnoDB. But the counter argument to that is that InnoDB crashes are extremely, extremely rare. And I mean, you really should be taking database backups anyway on a regular basis. That's pretty much the standard nowadays in development. So I have some justification to switch over to InnoDB, and I think I'm going to. We have sort of a hackerish InnoDB support within Composr. It's located within the Meta Toolkit non-bundled add-on. All it really does is there's a function here, get InnoDB table SQL, which generates SQL that you can use to then recreate the schematics of Composer's database so that they are fitting for an InnoDB database engine. And the nice thing is it adds foreign keys for you. That's one of the other main reasons why I wanted to switch to InnoDB, or am considering about adding support for InnoDB officially, is because of the foreign key system. So in InnoDB, you can add foreign keys, which are relationships between different columns, which can be spread across different tables and even different databases if you really wanted it to. And then you can add constraints on those relationships in order to maintain data integrity. So let's say if you have a table of users and then you have a table of forum posts. And forum posts refer to the ID of the user who posted it. Maybe you want a foreign key constraint that when the parent is deleted, that you automatically delete the children. So in other words, if the user is deleted, we also want all of their forum posts to get deleted. So you can do things like that on the database level, so you don't have to do that in the application level. So it's really handy. It's also handy for graphing relationships. So graphing relationships between data. I'm not sure why that popped up. So let me close that. All right, let's continue. I think, yeah, we were having issues with critical error display. I couldn't really figure those out. So we are on to extra logging. We're failing to generate profiler files. I'm not sure why this is. This is something I've noticed as well within Composr. It'll sometimes generate profiler files and sometimes it won't. I haven't been able to figure it out, and I don't think I'm going to spend time trying to figure it out today. Oh gosh. We have a lot of file types here that we got to deal with. What? Guzzle HTTP? It's a vendor file though. I'm wondering if I should add that as an exception. Let's see, so that's file type safe listing. Because that's a mean type library, we really shouldn't be adding, we have our own mean types, we shouldn't be grabbing mean types off of the mean types list from a third-party vendor code. Let's see, test code types. Here it is. We do have an exception list. Awesome. Wait a minute. Oh gosh, do I have to add all of those extensions as a... Oh, I could. No. Okay, there is a file exception up here. Okay, that's good. Mean types. So we actually need this whole thing. So we're gonna add that as an exception. Gonna add this as an exception. Yeah, these are all vendor files. Gonna skip those. I wonder... You know what? We're gonna make this more robust. If string position path vendor does not equal false, continue. Just gonna skip everything that comes from a vendor file. And we do need to add this one though, probably, maybe. That's weird, an RST file was referenced. I have a feeling, is that I wonder if it's a misspelling somewhere. readme.rst. What? What is an RST file? That's interesting. I don't want to add it, but I might have to. Because I can't remove this line because it's part of the add-on. I can't add the add-on hook as an exception because the add-on hook is part of Composr. I can't just simply... I guess I could add it as a file type exception. Because we don't use RST files. Alright, let's check filtering. Failed filter code check for... Oh yeah, I was having issues with this too, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it, so I'm just gonna leave that for now. Considering that I'm on a time, kind of sort of on a time constraint for getting this release out, so we're not getting example domain. Okay, that's a problem. This is probably why. This should be HTTPS. Now, how many changes did that make? That made 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 changes. Okay, so maybe that will fix it. Let's check. Okay, file type safe listing is passing, so that's good. HTTP timeouts is failing completely. Oh, because we need the keys file. I apparently don't have the keys file. Test assets keys. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this off screen. I'm gonna have to get the keys file. So please bear with me while I do this. This is going to take a minute or two. Actually, you know what? It's not going to be safe to do that. Son of a gun. I'm going to have to go to break in order to do this. So we'll return in about 1 to 2 minutes, probably more like 2 minutes. Everybody stick around and we'll be back. Alright, sorry about that. That took a little bit longer than I was hoping because the keys file did not actually exist on the server. So I had to go and dig into some backups in order to find it. Which one was that? That was HTTP timeouts. And HTTP base is still failing. Test redirect and test redirect HTTPS. Test redirect HTTPS is, well, this should be, we're just going to change all of them to HTTPS because nobody uses HTTP. So this did not work on sockets. It looks like it actually works manually. Okay, that's fine. Curl doesn't work on my system for some reason, so I always ignore the curl errors on that test. Okay, so redirects are broken on sockets. Curl, and here's sockets. Okay, let's see here. Let's look through the, this looks kind of sus to me. We get a cannot connect to host error. See, it works for curl. Yeah, that's not something I'm going to spend my time on fixing right now. It might have something to do with my system. Template uses JavaScript but not present in HTML. Block credit expiration inner. Okay. So this is a function that's not even used. Is this? It's on the tracker, or it's in the JavaScript custom JavaScript. Mantis tracker, block credit. Oh, because this has to do with support credits and we don't use support credits anymore. That makes sense. So yeah, we don't need that function anymore. Class uses JavaScript but not present in HTML. JS change update product info display. No results found. Alright, we're just gonna leave that. I have no idea what it is, where it's coming from. OEmbed is failing. The 0 error was received. Probably because this is an HTTP file. I mean, it's trying to load in the HTTP protocol, perhaps. Give that a try and see if that fixes it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Override notes consistency. Bundle code must have a note to programmers. Okay, core IMAP. So the note to programmers is that standard code that we put at the top of bundled files. Just telling people not to edit the original file. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to core IMAP. And replace this with that. And we need it for sources IMAP as well. And we need it for, we don't need it for Mantis. Add-on import type. Oh, that's going to take forever to go through. Sources custom, hooks, modules, add-on man, imp, nope. Have an import types, there it is. Get rid of that. We also don't need it for the GitLab configuration. That'll be under hooks systems config. GitLab. Let's check. That one's fine. This one needs to be removed. This one needs to be removed. And that one is fine. Next we have endpoint authorization GitLab webhook. And that should do it for that. Override notes consistency. Let's check on OEmbed. OEmbed is now passing. It was indeed an issue with using the non-secure protocol. Composr does not, by default, redirect to HTTPS automatically when externally calling websites. Privilege persistence. This is interesting. Missing reference page. Sponsor issue. Okay, notes consistency is passing now. Okay, this is a vague error. I have no idea what it's talking about. So we need to fix the test. Okay, is there a path? Is this missing reference? No, it's missing reference privilege. But we could put the path on here. And we could put the path on here as well. Now, I'm wondering what this is. Page access. Oh, I see, okay. Let's clarify this language. Has privilege called with an unknown privilege. Has possibly actual page access called with missing page. Get page or module zone called with missing page or module. Has privilege template temp code directive temp code symbol rather called with missing privilege. Has possibly actual page access called with missing page. Okay, hopefully that'll make that error a little bit more helpful. Rate limiting has always been an issue, so I'm going to ignore that. Rootkit detection has always been an issue. Scripts is bailing out after 10 seconds. Let's see if we can justify I mean, it's a synchronous test, so we probably could increase its time. Yeah, we're iterating over the code base, so we can justify extending the time limit a bit. We'll do modest 30 seconds and see if that fixes it. Okay, now we got a more helpful error message. So now we know that the reference was in issues.php and it is sponsor issue. Get page zone. Sponsor issue. Add a specialized note. GitLab add issue note. CMS home site GitLab issues, and this is for opening an issue. The node parameter 1. I don't know what the name of the page is, so I'm just going to comment it out. We don't even use that anymore right now. All right, scripts passes, so that's good. Okay, we were standard directory files. Sounds CAPTCHA is missing an index.html. Is it data or data custom? It's just data. Data sounds CAPTCHA is indeed missing an index.html file. So now we need to add that into our add-on files. Because I moved all of the CAPTCHA sounds into their own subdirectory for organization purposes. Okay. We can rerun that test. Which one was the standard directory files? Tasks. Our test events changed during the import export cycle. I'll have to look into that. And we need to enable telemetry. Cannot find post. I've been having issues with that too. I'm not going to waste my time with that issue. Cannot find version 14. Of course version 14 would not be in the download database. I don't know why it's searching for a version 14 of Composr CMS. Okay, standard directory files passes. This is still failing because it doesn't like it. It's still picking up that I commented it. So we're just going to pull it out completely. People are just going to have to figure out what it was based off the commit. All right. Why are we looking for a version 14? Let's check into that. Are we trying to add a version 14 into the database before we run the test? That's the wrong file. I gotta wait for VS Code to catch up. There we go. Okay, privilege existence is fine. We're deleting contents. And then make upgrade. From 2. Which one is failing? Both of them are failing. Add-ons and no add-ons. Cannot find a version 14 in the download database. I wonder if that's a version 14 in the database. Is that a language string? Oh, here it is. It's right here. To version verify, or to version pretty rather. Are we doing validation on from version? We could specify null. But could this possibly, yeah, that could possibly return null. All right, let's try this. For our test, let's blank these out because we can't use functions on constants. We are going to maybe we should use version 2. Yeah. Let's use get version dotted. 2 version will be get version dotted. From version will be get version dotted, get version major -1. So in that case, we actually need both version and version 2. Okay, this is not the correct function. Gotta find the correct function. It's CMS version number. It really shouldn't be that. There should be a verb in there, but all right. Also, this should be this. So essentially, we're testing upgrading from the previous major version up to the current major version. So in theory, the current major version should always exist in the download database. However, that is not always the case. But test mode is activated. Hang on, am I overlooking something? think I am overlooking something. Okay, make upgrade get path. The issue was could not find version that in the database. We need to go here. Load version, download rows. And we are going to, yeah, we're missing test data. Okay, we're going to do something similar, load in version and version 2 APIs. Map that to an array, get version dotted to an array. Also map get version dotted CMS version number -1 to an array. So our test data will be 2 different arrays. And then they will have the keys manual and quick. Okay. Now the fun part. I need to go into the database, schematic, I might actually do something here. Let's make this, hopefully make this easier. We're going to require in developer tools. Because there is a function that allows us to generate dummy data. Make dummy DB row. Oh, that's actually gonna go in the database. All right, let's add a new parameter, return only. Yeah, that should should be a boolean. Alright, whether to just return the rows that we would have added to the database. Okay, so we're adding a new parameter, return only, not for primary fields. So if we specify true for return only, then we're not actually adding into the database and instead just returning the row. Now does primary map get taken out of map? Doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just for the auto. Okay. That should do it. Now, actually, it's just going to be one row. So it's kind of misleading to say array of rows. The row we would have added into the database. So I forgot, this only does one row at a time, which is actually good for our use case. All right, make dummy DB row. Table is going to be downloads. We do want to allow null. We want to force a value here. Let's assign to variables. Because we need to reuse these. if we're making an upgrade, find version download. New download. Add date. It's gonna actually search for the file. Oh boy, this isn't going to work. We actually do have to do an upgrade test. Like testing an actual upgrade. Okay. I need some time to think this through. We're about an hour through the stream, so we're gonna go ahead and take a break while I think this through. This unit test, this particular test is getting a lot more complicated than I expected. Because it looks like what's going to happen is the test is going to have to make an upgrade build. But I don't know if I want it to actually do that. We'll see. I'll figure it out. All right, we'll be back in about 8 minutes or so. So everybody stick around, and you are watching Composr CMS development stream. go back to the Composr CMS development stream. I gave this thought, this upgrader test, and yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and go the route of actually making a build before we make the upgrader and do it, and that way we're doing a proper upgrade test. I think that'll be a lot better than doing the dummy test where we're just returning dummy rows in the database and I'm calling it a day, despite the build not working, because this way we're actually testing the build process and we're testing the process of generating an upgrader from that build. So I'm not exactly sure. Okay, hang on. There's a file, there's a module rather. Admin zone, pages, modules, custom, make. Oh, is it a mini module? No, here it is. Admin make release. This is what we want. So this is the call that we want to make. Okay, there we go. VS Code is running very slow right now. It's trying to re-index everything for some reason. Gotta wait for it to do its thing. It also broke my camera. Okay. So this is located in make release, which is CMS release build. So that's an additional add-on that we're going to need to check for. Okay, and then this is where we actually make the installers. However, version dotted, version branch. Okay, so it's just grabbing from the version file. That's good. If not, skip file. If we're skipping, no, we can't skip file grab. These are post parameters, so I can't. No, wait, yes I can. I can do this. So what we want to do is we want to skip downloading the latest data files. We want to skip we don't actually want to define that because by default it will not rebuild SQL. Okay, so that's by default it will not bump add-on versions. That's good. Okay, and then it builds everything. And we don't actually need what was I gonna say? We don't actually need to but we need to publish the installers after we're done. Holy heck, this is getting extremely complicated. Let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of that, because we're going to do our build up here in the startup sequence. Oh, but that's going to run for every dang test. Wow, somebody needs to fix their muffler. Okay, now we need to move this require code up there. Okay, so that will build the installers, but then we need to publish the installers. Okay, so there's a function called getBuildsPath. We need to move these files to uploads, downloads. So that'll be get builds path. Ooh, we're gonna have to actually delete the what is in the builds path first. That's in files.php. So we need to require code files. Files wanted, file extensions. Okay. We could leave the rest at their defaults. So this will return an array. So we're gonna iterate over that. Pretty sure it returns an array. Now the question is, does it return relative paths or absolute paths? Looks like it returns absolute paths. Okay. I don't know the move command. I guess we'll just do a copy unlink. Yeah, that may be best. Ooh, but are we gonna need to specify the file name? I think so. I'm still not sure. Yeah, I think we do need the file name. Now, I can't remember the function for that. Base name? Should be in the for loop. Okay, yeah, I think that's what we want. I'm just gonna put an is directory guard in here. And we need to publish the files now. So let's see exactly how that's done. That's done in the make release mini module. Oh gosh, it's done raw. That's not good. We're gonna have to migrate this to a function. Okay, let's go to Sources Custom CMS home site. factor some of this out. See if we're going to extract all of that code out, put that into the function. Going to need to do some tidying up here. Gotta wait for we got a thunderstorm thing in effect. Give me a moment here. I'm going to quickly check the weather. We have a strong thunderstorm with wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. That's not too bad. Checking. There hasn't been any lightning recently. I think it's just wind coming in. Okay. Just wanted to check that. All right, so now we need to look through here and see post parameter string version. So it's a string. We're going to make this output the URLs. Okay, make sure that returns URLs. Setting mass import mode, version planning, development builds are not intended for public release. Check if it's a substantial release. is old tree parameter. Is bleeding edge parameter. Video URL. Changes. This is gonna become a long function. Descript needed criteria justification the database upgrade do we have anything else? Not that I can immediately see. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, make it just a tad easier for me. So string version dotted, boolean is old tree, boolean is bleeding edge, string video URL, which is empty by default, string changes, which is empty by default, string description, which is empty by default, string needed, which is empty by default, string criteria, which is empty by default. I think needed is a string, yeah. String justification, which is empty by default, and boolean database upgrade, which is false by default. We should probably add another control here for testing, or skip mantis. Actually, no, we don't want to do that, because it's just going to do it on the local install of Mantis. Not the home site version, so it'll still be good to run that for testing purposes. Okay. So now, in theory, we can run that function. So to version. Oh, it's this to version. False for old tree. We're gonna mark true for bleeding edge, because if you're running this in the test suite, it is, you know, it's pretty much safe to assume that this is an unstable version. Blank all of those out. Actually, we don't need any of those. We can leave those to their defaults. Okay, so we publish the build files, and then in theory, that'll put it in the database, and then we can run our testing for making the upgraders. Okay, now we are probably going to get some errors starting off, so let's go ahead and work through those. Get version dotted. Oh, that's a flow. Alright. That's the only place that it exists. So we gotta inval that. Okay. Now it's doing something, I think. Yep, it is building. We'll see how far this gets us. I think my server's probably still going to time out in this process, because it's, you know, this is some pretty complex stuff going on here. I think I screwed that up. Yep. I see an issue already. I'm gonna stop the process. I'm gonna forcefully halt the process. What's the issue? We don't need this. We don't need to delete existing records. What we do need to do is change this to version. We should be going into the version specific directory, not the build folder. And we don't need to remove that directory early because the make installers function is going to do that for us. Okay, let's try again. It's possible this may be a test that I'm going to now need to move to forcing you to run on the command line. Because I think my localhost server has a hard cap at 60 seconds for the maximum execution time. And this test might be pushing it. We haven't even recopied the build files yet. Okay, so the 11.x folder is being worked on. We just haven't gotten to the compilation stage yet. What is taking so long? Okay, now we're starting to get activity on the data.cms file. I think maybe it was taking a while since I restarted the web server, and which basically dumped all of the file system cache. I think that's what happened. Okay, yeah, we have an error here. Call to undefined function. Is it because we don't have CMS home site? I think so. rerun. Hopefully it'll be faster this time, since PHP has a file system cache. And it's still taking a while. Alright, so what I'm going to do from this point on is, if we get any errors, particularly with CMS publish release, which we probably will, I'm going to separately re-execute just that function within execute temp until we get it working. Okay. So that's set up. Because yeah, this is taking a long time, and I do not have the time to keep rerunning the entire test suite on each failure. There's probably going to be a few of them. Okay, it tried, but it did not. It didn't move these files like it should have done. It should have moved these files to uploads, downloads. Why did it not move them? Builds to version. Oh, that should, no, but this should be exports builds. That's get builds path. We're going to copy this over as well. Try and figure out what this is about. But we gotta wait for the indexing service. Excuse me, but that should be a... I can't figure out where it actually is located until VS Code is done with its stuff. But I'm not waiting for VS Code. I am going to bail it out. And I'm going to delete this folder so that hopefully VS Code doesn't say I got 460,000 files I need to index. Which you don't. I don't know why you got such a high number. It's in files too, of course. Then why didn't it fail in this block of code? Come on, indexing service. Okay. For F's sake. That's in make release. Just for safekeeping, I'm going to add files on here, and I'm going to add version on here. And where is this directory located? That is a PHP function. I know base name is a PHP function. That's a global function. Okay, so no, it is, the path is wrong for some reason. Okay, let's figure this out. Let's dump the path and exit out and see what we get. Composr exports builds 11 data. That looks correct. Exports builds 11 beta 7. So why are we not getting anything? We are getting files, but they're not absolute paths, they're relative paths. What happens if I do this? Okay, so in theory that should work now. Oh, it copied over, but didn't actually remove them. That's fine. But I didn't get any errors, so does that mean the publish release worked? Only one way to find out. Alright, so we're gonna copy our updated. Actually, we could just copy this because relative path is the same as that. And that should, in theory, be our fix. But now we have to rerun the test suite. That's going to take a moment. Give it a couple minutes. Gotta love slow development environments, am I right? I wonder if closing VS Code will speed up the process. Because I'm wondering if VS Code is adding I/O load on the hard disk, well, SSD in this case, because it's detecting those new files and then triggering a reindexing. Okay, we got our first touch on data.cms, so it should only be about a minute longer or so. Okay, the release should have been published, so now we should be running the upgrader testing. Or it should be doing the upgrader testing. Let's see if I can get there quick enough. That would be uploads website specific, CMS home site upgrades, tar build. It is trying to build something right now. Not sure why it's marking at 11 beta 8. That's interesting. It is at least trying to build, though. Question is, it's the test has already taken as long as it has. I'm wondering if the server is going to time out. Oh, this is an old, that's an old build. Okay, we can ignore that. I just now noticed the date modified. I did a test beta 8 build. Now this has taken a particularly long time, so I'm concerned that the server might time out. Uh-oh, it's trying to build something. Now it doesn't exist anymore. Okay. Alright, so we gotta build. I'm gonna get rid of this old one. Okay, now it's doing the personal upgrader test. I apologize if this is a little jarring for everybody. I'm just quickly going through all of the folders just to see what it's doing. Making sure that it looks all right. Oops. Clicked an htaccess file. Okay, and there's the secondary build. The test is still running though. There we go. Okay. It has finished and it has passed. Alright, our changes have worked. Even though it is now a significantly longer test, it is a much more thorough test. So now it is literally testing an upgrade. Well, not literally, but it's testing the generation of a build and then an upgrader. So that's good. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it there because we have come to the end of the testing suite. So at this point, what I'm going to do is there's going to be some boring stuff happening behind the scenes. I have to run some upgrader tests, so I have to actually test an upgrade from a clean beta 7 site to a beta 8 site, and then I have to do another upgrade test from version 10.0.51 up to beta 8. And then what I'm going to have to do is make a release video kind of detailing the changes that have been made since beta 7. And then we're going to release 11 beta 8. So be sure to check out composr.app, that is composr.app. If you want to check out Composr CMS, it is a free and open source website software that you can use to build and maintain and run a website. And there are a lot of features out of the box, so you don't need to rely on third-party plugins for a lot of the functionality. And look out, hopefully, for beta 8 in the coming few days. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.